This is the What I Need podcast, a shared journey exploring topics of society, spirituality, and even ways of being. Here, we speak freely and fully, from the heart and the conscious mind, in hopes to find what we need. Thank you, for your time is valuable and you could have been anywhere else in the universe. All of you are welcomed and appreciated here. Hello and welcome back to the What I Need podcast. I am a little bit late, but better late than never, right? I hope everybody is doing so well, and I express gratitude actually for your well-being and the well-being of my own self at this time. On this episode, and I'm just doing this on the fly because I want to bring it to. I'm late, first of all, and I just want to bring it to the people during this time before we go into, here in America, the election. I think this is a very high tension moment because there's some things to talk about. I feel, and as a person that is, I feel imparted to intuition and imparted to feelings and vibrations. I'm an artist. I've worked with music for over 10 years, and emotions and vibrations are something I have just. That's the only. If there was a. I mean, there are degrees and things people can get in music, but there's also. And in psychology and emotion, there is those, but there's also a universal aspect to those things as well. And what I feel about the current situation is we need to talk about what makes what is the king. So this episode is really, it is for everyone, but I need my men to step into the room, and we need to sit down at the table together and talk. But everybody else can also tune into this too, because everybody should know and be able to identify and understand what kingliness should represent. I was having a conversation some time ago, ranting really with Danilo, and he's appeared on a couple of these episodes. He's a joy and just a good time, and very well intentioned, and just so complimentary to everyone that he meets. But anyway, unless you're rude to him, and then that makes it really difficult to be nice to somebody who's been rude to you. So I mean, it is what it is. Now, and that doesn't happen that often, but hey, and I'm the same way. I mean, it's hard to be kind and conducive when someone is already coming with an atmosphere of negativity. So as we get into this conversation of kingliness, I was having a rant or something. I was feeling away, and ranting to him in the car about what a king and kingdom should look like. And I was saying, what was I saying? I was saying a king should be trying to take care of his people. A king should be, yes, they have wealth, they have the castle, or they have the whatever they would call it. They have the kingdom, they have the mansion, or they have whatever on the top of the hill. Sure, that's one aspect of, or they have whatever is, we think about, I guess we think about the wealth, the royalty. We think about the riches, the majesty. However, this is not what makes a king. This is what a king might have. What makes a man a king is his ability to take care of his people. And we often, when we think of a man, we say protector. Well, when we think of the definition, when we think of the definition of what a man is, at least how I was brought up, shout out to my mom, and men in my life that have been able to be father figures. Because that has alternated a little bit. But I'm thankful for what I am thankful for those that have been there and lessons they have taught. So a man is supposed to be a protector and provider. So automatically, when we think about a king, this needs to be a man that can not only protect and provide for an entire kingdom, not just a family, with humility and grace and reassurance that these people are living in a foundation that is protected, guided, seen after. There's so much care. Protector, provider. There is no lacking. There is no. So I was even thinking. I was like, if somebody has a kingdom, I mean, I'm thinking of the precipice of what someone who calls themselves a king. They have all this majesty, have this money. So I'm thinking, if you're such a king, if the king is such a king, there should be such a king that there's a type of kingdom. We don't have peasants. Oh, I'm thinking of a kingdom where I am so abundant, or because I was calling myself King Karlton. Oh, this is why. So I was thinking, or I didn't call myself King Karlton. Maybe we need to go over this too. So I never deemed myself King Karlton. I received the name from a community I was working in Santa Ana, California, during the time I opened my big mouth and decided to go head to head with a community of folks that was using the N-word. And that's online. You can look at that on whatever, on Function Presents. Is it Function Presents? No, I didn't even put that mess on Function. I didn't put that mess on Function Presents. I was smart and put it on my Karlton Fresh page. So, yeah, I used to go by Karlton. I initially, when I went solo as an artist, I changed my name from Space Kid to Karlton Fresh. So I've had some changes in my name over the course of time, that I've been an artist and been presenting myself. That was a change. That was a transfer in names from Space Kid to Karlton Fresh, and then it was 2020 where I have been doing some work in the community of Santa Ana, California, Orange County. I have been doing activism during the George Floyd demonstrations. Going out, because my calling at the time, and I did receive this as a, again, intuitive hit, as my preacher Michael Beckwith would say. That's my preacher. Shout out Agape. I am a member of Agape Spiritual Center. Okay. And I love them. Shout out to all you guys. If you happen to be listening to this ever, Agape, love you so much. And you have been instrumental in my life, and such a home to me, and made me feel like more normal to be the person that I am. So intuitive hits, Michael Beckwith, he speaks about, don't be surprised when you get an intuitive hit. You should be receiving intuitive hits. You should be guided. You should be guided by the light in you. You should be guided by your higher power. You should be guided. Duh. This should not be something that is so foreign. So he often, teaches us to be not only ready for that, but to be seeking that, as you should. Life is kind of difficult to navigate sometimes, is it not? Yeah. So, I have received an intuitive hit, and also at the same time was looking for how I can affect change during the 2020 protests. And if anybody recalls that time frame, there was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of uncomfort. It was a time where COVID, a worldwide virus, had hit all of us, and a time where those that are to protect and serve in this country, we've seen 9 minutes of this man being murdered on television, and it sparked like wildfire. And I mean, I have never seen anything like it. I don't think anybody has. And I think that's why just the projection of that, and the audacity of that interaction was too much to be silent for. So in that, and I had done activism previous to that. We did 100 blocks to freedom. That was led by my good friend Clemmy Williams. Shout out to Clemmy Williams, who makes street gospel, and he is very in tune as well, very with God, and trying to reach and affect change. He has an album called Affect Change, whereas I have learned that terminology from listening to that album and watching him make it. So he led us on 100 blocks to freedom, where we were going around on street corners throughout LA, Orange County, with signs that said one love, with signs that said nothing that was divisive. So being divisive was not our goal. Bringing people together with love and like harmony, and we actually have a music video called "I Am Triumphant" that's out, and that video is actually a depiction of what 100 blocks to freedom was. So all the different backgrounds of people, the signs and what they said, and me and Clemmy being the partners, in collaboration, going and spreading the message that he had came up with. And I was just like, you know what, I got your back, bro. This sounds like something I would love to be a part of. and we would bring our music and on a speaker. It was a really amazing experience. I was supposed to do a documentary about it, and I do have some clips probably somewhere. Um, and I'm really glad I'm actually mentioning it right now on this show, because nobody may have ever, only the people that imparted that experience live would know, I suppose. And our friend Cuffy was there too. I want to mention Cuffy. Shout out Cuffy. A lot of shout outs on this episode. But what we were doing is trying to raise awareness about harmony, about unity without any kind of prejudice. And it was it was really an amazing experience. So that was one of my early experiences with activism. So when it came time for the George Floyd situation, I was like, I've got to do something. And I don't know what at first I did not know what it is that I could do. And what I was seeing about the situation, just by looking at the news, just by looking outside, because I don't know if you could go outside during that time in your area and not know of or have seen a protest. I got something else I got to say about this whole situation too. But I prayed on it. I sat with it. And I asked, what can I do? God, what would you have me to do in regard to getting involved? Because what I was seeing is there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of people just going outside. There is, there was some of people going outside, and not that they didn't have right to be angry as well. So excuse me, let me also say that. People were being taken over in a way, taken over in a way by their anger, and going out and using that as the motivation and the energy to speak, say something, stand up. And again, it's not that it's hard, because it's not that it was the wrong thing to be upset, especially after seeing a man die like that on national television, and already so many other situations that had happened before that. Of course, anger was there. Of course, anger was present. And sometimes people, when you jump into your anger, you can't control it. Again, I'm a very emotional person, so I try to sit with and understand feelings a lot of times. I try to analyze the energy of what feelings brought, of what emotions brought in my meditations, and analyzing the outcome of what the emotion, then the energy, and then the combination, what did it do? So that's why I felt, before I go out here, and I'm out here with everybody, and I'm committed to being out here with everybody, because it wasn't just one day of protesting or one day of demonstration. It was a summer of demonstrations. Not only about Black Lives Matter, but about COVID, and people not wanting to put on the mask, and people wanting to know what happened, and people wanting to be able to go to work, and people not wanting to be stuck at home. And I mean, this happened 4 years ago, but this was a worldwide event. And so hold on. Now, in my asking and seeking seeking something, the answer that I received or ended up doing, what I ended up doing, is to pick up my camera. I was watching the news, and I had already started Function Presents. We started in 2018, so me and documenting and recording had already begun. Um, so it was like, of course, you pick up your camera and you go out and you record everything, and that is your demonstration. That is your contribution, because it was going to need to be seen, and this is still it's there and available on my YouTube, functionpresents.com. Actually, yeah, functionpresents.com, and on YouTube, Function Presents. Episodic versions of a documentary that is supposed to come out, called The Movement. So Function Presents The Movement. That's where you can, on YouTube, you can check it out. That was what I was called to do. Document, because what was going on in the news media is that the demonstrations were being projected as simply riots. And quite frankly, some of them were riots, again, because the level of anger and everything just needing to be such a sense of urgency, because things were happening, high tension things were happening all at once. So, in some ways, yes, it was riots, but it was not only riots. And of course, the news media does sensationalize. They have a tendency to sensationalize, or they want to project the most sensational story. So the heartfelt things, the need for more unity, the need for more understanding, and those things that were also being which were actually the majority of what was going on, was not being projected, captured, or the main point of many stories. So my calling during that time, or I guess calling, purpose, what you felt was worth paying attention to, whatever you want to call it. My focus, whatever you want to call it. My focus during that time was to get my camera and to record that, and then to compile a documentary to show from the people's standing what we are experiencing, because we're not just a moment of sensationalism. We are human lives that had issues going on at a very high tension time. We're not just the over sensationalized 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock primetime story that needs to get enough views, and it needs to have, so the lesser exciting things, like people coming together, people hugging, people having conversations about what we do to move forward, was not the main focus of many of those reports. So that is what I was doing during that time. Now I'm probably going to take a moment here to get back on track with the rest of this episode, because I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. So, so I had did that, and during that, goings on of going out, pretty much because we had nothing else to do. So we had nothing to do, and we're standing up for justice, and there was nothing else to do but be an activist during that time. And I'm like, okay, I was already doing that before anyway, so I'm like, cool. And then I got something to record, which is not that it was a hobby, but it was what my skill set was. So I was kind of activated. I was very activated during that time, and I was very dedicated to attending the protests and the demonstrations. I like to call them demonstrations, rather, but either way, call it what you need to. Um, I was working with OC Justice Initiative, and the leader of that group was his name, coincidentally, was Justice, Justice Curtis. He's a wonderful leader and a wonderful guy that is still currently working in Orange County, OC Justice Initiative. Um, somehow I ended up meeting him. You know how I feel about coincidences already. So, um, and when I first met him, I was just like, this kid is he's real. This is the real deal. This is the Martin Luther King energy. This is the Malcolm X energy. This is a studied brother. This is a driven brother. This is a real brother right here. He is leading these people to go outside, but not to engage with any foolishness while you are projecting justice for the people, because this is not a game. We are not out here to play a game and just go outside and just to be outside and just to wreak havoc. So as I seen his initiative as this, I was like, okay, I can align with this, because I am not somebody who is just up for just anything, especially when it comes to topics like that. And I mean, in my music and everything I've projected, you know, put out there, I'm not playing about when it comes to justice and the people, and it comes to standing up for causes and stuff like that. There's not a lot of room and need to play around with such things, especially if you're a person that takes a look at what goes on and what has gone on. So, and plus I already seen the resources that are far beyond that of any one person having a field day with the chaos and drama of a really sad and unfortunate happening in our national community. I saw it a great alignment that I was able to meet Justice and be able to find somebody I could work behind, or go along with. So when we met, we spoke, and it was at an event, and he's like, I'd love to have you on my team as a videographer. And I was just like, of course. Excuse me if there's things going on in the background. I have a cat jumping from the highest thing that she can jump down from and getting my attention. And then there's just the way the house is, there's like some footsteps, but that's fine. Again, in my meditations, I teach there's no such thing as distractions. We are being one with the moment. So a distraction is nothing but a part of the moment that is being had. And plus, I'm not going to be chopping and editing every single thing out, because there's too much work. We just go with it. Go with the flow. No problem. But that's what that is. So, yeah, we talked at that event, and the demonstration that we were at, I think I also got to perform there. So he heard, words in my song Triumphant, and he was like, yo, who, like, we're just like, who are you? I'm like, who are you? And then he asked me to be his videographer, if I could come out and record some of the demonstrations that he would be leading. And in that regard, is basically just a match made in heaven. We have a lot of admiration for each other, and really see each other as black men in our community that are at this time. What are you doing? Okay, whatever. Let me take my own advice. It's a distraction, but it's not. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, anyway, we're gonna overpower the ADHD right now. We're two black men in the community that really could look at each other and be like, you know what, this brother is not playing. He has a really valuable mission right now, and we need to support each other at all costs. Again, high tension time. Again, not really a game of a time. So, that quickly developed and just locked in, and we're like, let's go. So, I mean, you go and watch some parts of that documentary, you will see him in the streets, leading the people, making sure in our meetings and beforehand that it is understood why we are out here, and we are part of the ideals and uh, um, the the ideals and the intention, more so, of the original civil rights movement. We are not here to be chaos inciters. We are not here to be, what was that group? I can't even remember. Antifa. We are not here to be any kind of Antifa. We are not here to be any kind of chaos inciters. We are not here to be outside because we're bored of being inside. We're here to let them know, you guys, system, you have hurt and killed individuals that didn't need to die, and now the whole community is upset, and we're guidancing the anger basically to help out and keep have it to have a point, instead of not. I'm gonna have to fix this situation one moment. Guiding people in their anger and all of what's going on, so that the demonstrations and the protests can have a point to them and point to something better, because that it was already going on. And I don't know what activated justice. To my knowledge, he was a student at names. He was a student. He was a college student. So, to my knowledge, that's what he was doing. I don't know what he was studying at the time, but he had been called to lead people in a direction of unity that projects a point in all of those wonderful things. So, again, I was able to get on board with that because I didn't want to go outside and be in danger, because somebody had already died. We were already seeing on the news people getting all kind of all kind of things. So I was like, I'm not going outside for no reason. I am not going to go outside for no reason, as much as I would like to stand up, and I think that's very important, and that's always been, again, instilled in me, not necessarily from anything, but just from my own being, because I've always been very wanting to talk about, I don't know, just wanting to discuss and bring value and truth to situations that are lacking them. And when I started rapping and stuff like that, that was the first thing I was wanting to talk about, and has kind of remained, a point of discussion in my music. I have all different kind of music, but that is definitely something that is inside of my music. So again, that alignment allowed us to work together and create a documentary series, a mini series, and also a forthcoming documentary, which I still have to finish. But I'm glad to still have it on my list of things to do. Um, and I believe the reason I've been kind of called to do the documentary is because there may be other times that that may be necessary. Um, so if you know what I mean, you know. So um, I'm grateful that the pieces of the documentary are available. So the gist of the point is already there, but the total documentary I do feel is necessary for the entire point to be articulated. I also do think we should look at the moment that 2020 was as not a situation, but a great moment in history, in the planet's history. And I think we kind of downplay ourselves globally. We downplay ourselves as a people. We downplay ourselves as what we're willing to get up and do in a moment of terror and uncertainty. Because that's what it was, I think, if anybody recalls, again, COVID and a George Floyd 2020. How do you feel? Although, I mean, during that time, I personally found, I guess because I was already into activism, um, it didn't feel like, it's interesting, it did not feel so bad. It kind of felt good that people were willing to see that many people willing to come together for a needed cause, and then to know that it was worldwide. Um, it actually, it puts a lot of faith in humanity. It puts a lot of your faith back into humanity because, um, you know, if I could just give us a global pat on the back, um, being affected by diseases and systematic murder, and then having the cojones to stand up and be like, hold up, that's dope. And that was a moment that was very difficult, but also it just goes to show what the people will say something if it ain't right, and we will get back what we need and what we want if it ain't right, and that it is possible. So, because now in 2024, I feel like we do have um, quite a bit more peace than we had at that moment, even though it's not. It could be better, you know. Should always be a goal to have less and less wars and less, I guess, social issues, especially when they a requirement. Are social issues a requirement of life? So just food for thought. I don't know. And okay, so back to the topic of kings and men in general, and kingliness. So I'm glad I was able to have a couple examples of individuals I have met that have been leaders, and really the whole time were able to maintain their wholesomeness for all that I knew. By no means a perfect man either. um, but perfect in the sense of their mission and what they came to, what they ended up, what they ended up doing, came to do. I mean, I don't know if Clemmy always had it in his mind and heart to always do what he does. I mean, he, for what I know, because anytime that I had met him, I anytime I had met him, hold on, let me do a pause. Get away from me. No. What the heck? This cat is animals love me, but this cat, you know what? I'm just gonna consider she is trying to raise my vibration with her love, and that's why she likes to be near me, and maybe vice versa. Um, and hopefully I can find a place to cut this whole part out. Hold on. So yes, anytime I had met Clemmy, he was already really knee deep, neck deep in his this mission. I mean, he was, and to my knowledge, is very impassioned about spreading his message, this street gospel, because he has seen what it's like to live on the streets. He has known that life, so his music is dedicated to um, showing that and like really sharing his powerful message. So um, I never experienced an issue with him being the person that he is and bringing that message and it being to the point and just what it needs to be. Um, Same thing with justice. You know, what men, we have egos, we have testosterone in our body, we have pride sometimes. Well, we have pride. Um, all these things could potentially get in the way of greater purpose. And the point that you came to make is like, okay, so are you on topic or are you off topic? What you're trying to do great, or has it diminished down to some kind of personal goal that's really more so for your own stroking of pride and ego, or is it for the people? Um, and I think those are two wonderful examples. I'm proud to be able to bring as a representation on this show and on this episode. Um, so kings and kingdoms. We think of a kingdom. We think about what could be the maximum of a kingdom, and oh, I got to go back to how I got the name. So those two situations um, were what I was involved in, leading up to my discussion of you're not gonna say the N word, not like that, because you're not black, and it had been asked by this blog site in the community as well in Orange County. Um, well, I guess I just have to go on and say it. It had been asked on a website called Juice Unlocked. Um, is it okay for Mexicans to say the N word? And this was asked in February of 2020 during the heat and fire of the George Floyd protest. So I'm black and feeling away reading this information because I'm like, it's Black History Month, it's February. And you're asking the question you have to ask meme style on your Instagram is, can Mexicans say the N word? So I had commented and I was like, although it happens, no, you cannot. Since you have asked the question, you got black people following you. and I'm black and I'm in Orange County. No, you cannot. I was facing a barrage of backlash, being a gay person. Like, yeah, in Orange County, a rapper. Um, from all these things they wanted to say and all this and that, and I just, I got on live and I had conversations and I was being, very loud and vocal. I didn't care how many people were coming against me. I did not care that I was in a mostly Latino community. I was like, look, I have Latino friends. I love Latino people and Mexicans. So I already had Mexican friends prior to this. I was following your page because I thought I could view and support it. So it's not that I have any kind of prejudice ideal. The question that was asked was prejudice and disrespectful. So I had ended up standing up to this structure, this small structure of this blog, who had a pretty decent following in Orange County. It's it's a microcosm, but so during all that that battle, there was also a diss track. There was also a diss track that ended up coming out because some rapper that was being promoted by this page at the time, and I'm not gonna say his name because it's over now, but I had to light him up on a diss track, and it was just epic. I mean, it was enjoyable, to be honest. It was for me as a rapper, and I have not had a back and forth with another rapper since and ever before that, because that's not why I rap. But to flex those skills, to stand up and be like, I'm gonna keep it real. No, you cannot say that. You cannot say that. And I'm not gonna sit here and be here and you have said it and it's coming to my awareness, to my attention span, and just be like, and just keep scrolling. I cannot do that. I cannot do that. And it's Black History Month. So I'm like, it was just so backwards and so wrong. So there is another filmmaker named Black OC, Farron Kidd, who is also I would say a very great influence and leader during that time in Orange County, and he, as a filmmaker, so since he's a filmmaker, he shot a lot of music videos for people, did a lot of content for people in Orange County. So we were colleagues. I think we were colleagues even. Yeah, we were colleagues from the beginning of when I started Function Presents. Not working on Function Presents, but he had his Black OC that he was starting. There was a lot of people who started companies in 2018 and started things in 2018. That I got to meet, collaborate with, be colleagues of, and he was one of them. So he has seen me grow from 2018 to 2020, and also being of a very unique perspective, as I am. It seemed, I guess, to him, it has seemed very respectable and noble that I was willing to put my neck on the line, in a way. I mean, I also feel like it's whatever, but to put my neck on the line in a way to step out and really give a paragraph of why this local blog site is not going to say and ask this audacity question right now. And then also to go through a lot of the backlash and stand pretty much not alone, because a lot of people did stand up and comment and social media stuff about how they wasn't feeling it either. Um, but the amount of support versus the amount of people coming into my inbox saying all kind of crazy things, up all the way up to death threats. Um, he recognized that and called me King Karlton. He started calling me King. Anytime he see me or would address me, and that's how I ended up having that name. And I was thinking about that, and then I was like, well, do I deserve this name? I was like, what do I think of a king at this time? So I'm like, what do I? This is back in the car now. So I'm like, what do I think about this name? And I'm like, men would love to call themselves a king. Like, we would just you get that name put on you, and you would just pick it up instantly and just like be like, oh, I'm a king, blah 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 blah. And then I was also having some issues with. I think I had issues with many different men at the time. Not men I was like dealing with in a any kind of personal way, but like certain colleagues, certain respectability politics and stuff like that. And I went on this rant where I was like, man, what is a king? I'm like, men are here thinking they're a king, or that we're worthy of being called king. A king should be like somebody who is fully protecting and providing for whatever their kingdom is. And like, when we think of abundance and we think of the abundance of a kingdom, and you're a king and you're all this and that, you should be to the point, the status quo of a king's thinking is that their kingdom is so abundant it doesn't even have any peasants. We don't even have any peasants. We don't have any homeless. Oh, we're good over here. We don't have any problem. My kingdom's taken care of. Completely taken care of. Because I care about my kingdom. It's mine. I care about my kingdom. I don't want my kingdom just looking any old kind of way. Funky, dirty, nasty. So we've cleaned the kingdom. The streets? Oh, yeah, they're clean. The people are cared for because I care about my kingdom. And it's mine, and I'm the king. So I was speaking of this and ranting, and then so I was just developing. I'm like, this is the way people should think of, and how we should, as men, when we're approaching any word of understanding the level of kingship. I guess that should be what's in mind, is what I was thinking, because there's a lot of false ideas about, oh, I'm a king. And sure, it's not it's an idealistic idea, but I think it's also a feeling tone, and it's also a intention and like a desire to think my kingdom is so where it needs to be, that we don't even have peasants. There is no peasants in the kingdom, because it's yours. So you're holding not only yourself in this level of kingship, but you're holding your kingdom at a level of kingship that it kind of has that full value of the situation. And I just think that as men, we can go ahead and begin to idealize that when we are talking about our families, when we're talking about anything that's within Just even as a man. So if we consider every man a king, and I enjoy calling other men kings, especially black men, because I like to put that in their head that you are not some low down, supposed to be statistic ass person. Let's put back into your mind, you're supposed to be a king, brother. And I would like to look at you like that. I like to look at myself like that. So when we look at each other, we can reflect that back to each other. Because, I mean, aren't we tired of being a statistic? Aren't we tired of being, expected to be low? And then as it goes even for outside of it being black, the other brothers of any race, like, can we not look at each other as men? Can we not look around at a room of women and children and be like, we got this? We're gonna make sure it's good. We good in here. Because that would kind of feel like and reflect protector, provider, and I don't think it'd be a bad thing to kind of raise the ideal of manhood and kingship to that level. Now here's the last conclusionary part of this episode. Thank you for being. Yeah, thank you for being. Where's my water at? Oh, it's in here running my mouth. We have the 2024 election coming up. And although our presidency here in America is not considered a kingship, that's what we got. That's what we have, the highest level of supremacy in this country is our president. And I personally think the person, and previously, hopefully, except for this time, and I think it's a done deal. Kamala Harris, please, yes, because the other one, no. Plus, we've already seen that episode, and I had enough of that. I don't know. This isn't a political show, so I don't have to be this way or that way about it. As it goes for, hold on, let me stay on this point. That man, as far as I'm concerned, is an Antichrist. Whether we want to call him the Antichrist or we want to call him I don't care, because if you do look it up, it's a titleship. It is not a individual. There is a time frame where there will be an individual who we're supposed to identify in some way as that, who is trying to come into a political status of power. Okay? I have no reservation to mention this. I have no reservation to mention it. Why would I? So, he's even if I just called him asshole, same thing. It's not really the personality, the intention, the vibe, those all of the thing, whatever you want to call it, universally, and you know how I feel about the universe. Universally, no. Universally, hell no. And he doesn't reflect any kind of king or supremacy that feels safe and grounded. And I'm glad that not that my show is very looked at yet, um, but I'm glad to say and post this a little good amount of time before November 5th, because there's just no reason to have Trump in um, office when he has a criminal background, when he has been deceitful, when he has projected feelings, emotions, intentions that had inspired his constituents and supporters to not demonstrate but overthrow or attempt to overthrow the entire government. It doesn't seem like a good idea, you know? So, I hope everybody has a great day, and that's been the What I Need podcast. See you later. This is not racist at all, but and one more thing. I love that show. Um, Also, on the topic of, because this is the What I Need podcast, where we talk about society, spirituality, and ways of being. So, um, in the spiritual terminology of the Antichrist, again, which I have no reservation talking about on a spiritual podcast. Um, Systems and entire organizations can also be categorized under the terminology of Antichrist. And that was something I found in my research. Yes, I do research things before I speak about them. I think that's the whole point of information, right? So, yeah, entire systems can also be included. Organizations, groups, can be included under that title. And I just say that just to kind of go back around to, well, all of it. Um, we need to we need to do a little bit better in some areas. I just got done doing a video for GR Climate Coalition. Shout out to GR Climate Coalition. A lot of my work. This is not really any surprise or anything, but maybe it is because this is a new show, and I am continuing to try to again affect change, be a positive person in society. So my company Function Presents, I often find myself in orbit of social political issues, and those that are trying to do something in communities. I just constantly keep being in the orbit of that, but I also feel at home with that. I guess it's natural then, right? So I did just get done doing the video with GR Climate for Change, or GR Coalition. GR Coalition. Oh my God. I'm gonna get this. GR Climate Coalition. I said it right the first time. GR Climate Coalition. So I just got done doing a video with them, and they are doing a great effort to let our local community know, and also come into rooms with people that can make decisions, get people's attention that have the ability to make change, to make announcements, and I was able to record a beautiful demonstration that we did the other day. So those type of things, it's like the people, we are having to address our government and let them know, like, hey, this is something that affects technically everyone, including you. And it should, people, so those that are in power or in litigation, that are in legislation, we would think that these are already the folks paying attention to that at the highest level, because we thought, dude, that's what you get paid to do. But it seems that every once in a while, or time and time again, we have to make effort to bring that to the forefront through ways that your job already should provide for. So just to double check into areas that need to be at an optimum level of quality for the everybody that you support, it should be there already. When it's not, it seems that a lesser version of truth may be getting offered, when a lesser version of what's true and real and what is supposed to happen, or what have you, when a lesser version of that is available, less is available, including less time with a climate that is livable. Now that's the end of the episode. Have a nice day. Thank you once again for tuning in to the What I Need podcast. This is your host, Karlton, letting you know this is a Function Presents exclusive. We encourage you to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Function Presents. Also, we have our website, functionpresents.com. Before I go, I gotta tell you, I hope you find what you need. Whatever that is. Because you need it, apparently. Okay, bye.